Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Every clock is ticking, every second is speaking, and it's asking you one question: what will you do with me? I want you to pause for a moment and imagine this. What if the next 20 minutes of your life could shape the next 20 years? What if the choices you make in this short span of time determine the direction of your future? Your health, your wealth, your relationships, your happiness. We often underestimate time. We think 20 minutes is too small to matter. But let me tell you, history has been shaped in minutes. Contracts that built empires were signed in minutes. Words that changed nations were spoken in minutes. And decisions that transformed lives forever were made in minutes. The truth is, your life doesn't change in decades. It changes in decisions, and decisions happen in minutes. Every single day, you're given thousands of minutes. But the question is, how many of them do you use with intention? Because intention, not time, is what creates transformation. Think about it, 20 minutes of exercise a day may not look like much, but over 20 years it adds up to a body full of strength, energy, and confidence. 20 minutes of reading every morning may seem small, but over 20 years that knowledge will make you a leader, an innovator, an authority. 20 minutes of daily gratitude and reflection may seem unnecessary, but in 20 years it creates a soul filled with peace and a life filled with joy. The next 20 years of your life will not be built by chance. They will be built by habits, and habits begin in minutes. But here's the challenge: most of us waste our 20 minutes. We waste them scrolling, comparing, doubting, and delaying. And then we wonder why our years feel empty. I want you to think about this. If you invest just 20 minutes today in something that truly matters, you're not just shaping this day, you're shaping the next 2 decades. That's the compounding power of discipline. Do you want financial freedom? Spend 20 minutes daily learning about money, saving it, investing it, respecting it. Do you want deep, meaningful relationships? Spend 20 minutes each day genuinely connecting, listening, and loving. Do you want to leave a legacy? Spend 20 minutes each day sharpening your mind, your character, your vision. The clock is ticking, and those 20 minutes are either building your future or stealing it. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You don't need to figure out all 20 years right now. You only need to give yourself 20 minutes of focus, of courage, of effort, every single day. Because when you do, years will pass and people will look at your life and call it success. But you'll know the truth. That success wasn't built in years, it was built in minutes. So I leave you with this. The next 20 minutes are in your hands. How you use them will determine the next 20 years of your life. Don't waste them, invest them, live them with intention. And when the years pass, you'll look back with pride, not regret. You see, most people believe that their lives are shaped in the big moments. The day they graduate, the day they get married, the day they start a business, the day they land their dream job. And yes, those moments matter, but let me tell you a secret. It's not the big decisions that shape your future. It's the small ones. Think about it. 20 minutes may not look like much. To some, it's just a coffee break, a quick chat, a short scroll on the phone. But for others, 20 minutes is the very thing that rewrites the next 20 years of their life. A student decides, just for 20 minutes a day, to read instead of wasting time. In a year, they've read dozens of books. In 5 years, they've mastered skills others only dream of. In 20 years, they are leading companies, shaping ideas, transforming industries. An athlete decides just for 20 minutes a day to train harder than their peers, to stretch, to run, to sweat while others rest. And over time, that extra 20 minutes becomes the difference between good and great, between participant and champion, between forgotten and unforgettable. But it's not only about careers or achievements. Think about relationships. 20 minutes of undistracted conversation every day with your spouse, your child, your parent, your friend. It doesn't look like much in the moment. But in 20 years, that becomes a bond of trust so strong, so unbreakable, that nothing can pull it apart. And here's the truth. The power of small decisions is invisible at first. You don't feel it in a day, sometimes not even in a week. But the months, the years, they will reveal it, because small decisions are seeds. They don't look like much when you plant them, but give them time, give them consistency, and they will grow into forests that will give shade to generations. But here's the danger, the same principle works in reverse. 20 minutes of excuses, 20 minutes of distraction, 20 minutes of procrastination. It doesn't look harmful today, but stack it up over years and it becomes a life of regret. And that's why I say, never underestimate the power of small decisions. Because your life is not shaped in decades, it's shaped in moments, in choices, in the invisible battles no one else sees but you. So I ask you this, what will you do with your next 20 minutes? Will you waste it, or will you invest it? Because the next 20 minutes may look small, but they carry within them the weight of the next 20 years. We all live under the illusion that time is equal, that an hour is an hour, a day is a day, and that the calendar somehow defines the value of our life. But the truth is, not every hour is equal. Some hours are forgettable, and others are unforgettable. Some minutes are wasted, and others carry the weight of a lifetime. Think about it. 20 minutes on your phone, scrolling endlessly, does not hold the same value as 20 minutes of learning a new skill. 20 minutes of gossip is not equal to 20 minutes of prayer or meditation or writing down your goals. 20 minutes spent complaining is not equal to 20 minutes spent creating. It's not time that changes your life. It's the value you put inside the time. That's why two people can live the same number of years, but their lives will look completely different. One person lives 80 years but fills their days with purpose, action, and contribution. Another lives 80 years but fills their days with distractions, excuses, and regret. The number is the same, the value is not. And if you look back at history, you'll see that the moments that defined nations, that shaped humanity, did not take years. They took minutes, a signature on a piece of paper. A sentence spoken at the right time, a decision made in a moment of crisis. Those short bursts of time were more valuable than decades of routine. The mistake most people make is they wait for the big years of their life. They wait for the perfect season, the perfect age, the perfect opportunity. They think life will change when they turn 30 or 40 or 50. But life doesn't change because of a birthday. Life changes when you take 20 minutes today and put extraordinary value inside it. 20 minutes of focus can create ideas that last generations. 20 minutes of courage can open doors that would have stayed closed forever. 20 minutes of vision can change the course of your destiny. So the question is not, how much time do you have? The real question is, what is the value inside your time? Because you and I, we are all given the same 24 hours, but only a few know how to turn those hours into something priceless. Some will leave this world, and the world will barely notice they were here. Others will leave this world, and their names will be remembered forever, not because they had more time, but because they gave more value to the time they had. And that is why I tell you, 20 minutes can be worth more than 20 years if you choose to fill it with focus, with purpose, with action. Because the clock does not decide your future. The value you put inside the clock does. We all live under the illusion that time is equal. That an hour is an hour, a day is a day, and that the calendar somehow defines the value of our life. But the truth is, not every hour is equal. Some hours are forgettable, and others are unforgettable. Some minutes are wasted, and others carry the weight of a lifetime. Think about it. 20 minutes on your phone, scrolling endlessly, does not hold the same value as 20 minutes of learning a new skill. 20 minutes of gossip is not equal to 20 minutes of prayer or meditation or writing down your goals. 20 minutes spent complaining is not equal to 20 minutes spent creating. It's not time that changes your life. It's the value you put inside the time. That's why two people can live the same number of years, but their lives will look completely different. One person lives 80 years, but fills their days with purpose, action, and contribution. Another lives 80 years, but fills their days with distractions, excuses, and regret. The number is the same, the value is not. And if you look back at history, you'll see that the moments that defined nations, that shaped humanity, did not take years. They took minutes, a signature on a piece of paper, a sentence spoken at the right time, a decision made in a moment of crisis. Those short bursts of time were more valuable than decades of routine. The mistake most people make is they wait for the big years of their life. They wait for the perfect season, the perfect age, the perfect opportunity. They think life will change when they turn 30 or 40 or 50. But life doesn't change because of a birthday. Life changes when you take 20 minutes today and put extraordinary value inside it. 20 minutes of focus can create ideas that last generations. 20 minutes of courage can open doors that would have stayed closed forever. 20 minutes of vision can change the course of your destiny. So the question is not, how much time do you have? The real question is, what is the value inside your time? Because you and I, we are all given the same 24 hours. But only a few know how to turn those hours into something priceless. Some will leave this world, and the world will barely notice they were here. Others will leave this world, and their names will be remembered forever, not because they had more time, but because they gave more value to the time they had. And that is why I tell you, 20 minutes can be worth more than 20 years if you choose to fill it with focus, with purpose, with action. Because the clock does not decide your future. The value you put inside the clock does. We all live under the illusion that time is equal. That an hour is an hour, a day is a day, and that the calendar somehow defines the value of our life. But the truth is, not every hour is equal. Some hours are forgettable, and others are unforgettable. Some minutes are wasted, and others carry the weight of a lifetime. Think about it. 20 minutes on your phone, scrolling endlessly, does not hold the same value as 20 minutes of learning a new skill. 20 minutes of gossip is not equal to 20 minutes of prayer, or meditation, or writing down your goals. 20 minutes spent complaining is not equal to 20 minutes spent creating. It's not time that changes your life. It's the value you put inside the time. That's why two people can live the same number of years, but their lives will look completely different. One person lives 80 years but fills their days with purpose, action, and contribution. Another lives 80 years but fills their days with distractions, excuses, and regret. The number is the same, the value is not. And if you look back at history, you'll see that the moments that defined nations, that shaped humanity, did not take years. They took minutes, a signature on a piece of paper, a sentence spoken at the right time, a decision made in a moment of crisis. Those short bursts of time were more valuable than decades of routine. The mistake most people make is they wait for the big years of their life. They wait for the perfect season, the perfect age, the perfect opportunity. They think life will change when they turn 30 or 40 or 50. But life doesn't change because of a birthday. Life changes when you take 20 minutes today and put extraordinary value inside it. 20 minutes of focus can create ideas that last generations. 20 minutes of courage can open doors that would have stayed closed forever. 20 minutes of vision can change the course of your destiny. So the question is not, how much time do you have? The real question is, what is the value inside your time? Because you and I, we are all given the same 24 hours, but only a few know how to turn those hours into something priceless. Some will leave this world, and the world will barely notice they were here. Others will leave this world, and their names will be remembered forever, not because they had more time, but because they gave more value to the time they had. And that is why I tell you, 20 minutes can be worth more than 20 years if you choose to fill it with focus, with purpose, with action. Because the clock does not decide your future. The value you put inside the clock does. Discipline. The word alone sounds heavy to many people, almost like a burden. But let me tell you something that most never realize. Discipline is not a prison. Discipline is freedom. You see, success is not built on one big moment of glory. It is not built on one grand decision that changes everything forever. No success is built on the tiny, repetitive, invisible acts that no one sees but you. It's built on the habits that you choose to keep when no one is watching. Daily discipline is what separates the dreamers from the doers. Everyone has dreams, everyone has goals, everyone has desires, but only the disciplined wake up every day and push themselves closer to those dreams. Only the disciplined say, I don't feel like it, but I will do it anyway. Think about it. If you go to the gym one day, nothing changes. If you read one page of a book, nothing changes. If you practice your skill once, nothing changes. But if you do it every single day, even for just 20 minutes, the compound effect begins to move mountains. Muscles grow, knowledge expands, skills sharpen, and before you know it, you're standing in a place you once only imagined. Daily discipline is the great equalizer. You may not be the smartest, you may not be the richest, you may not even be the most talented, but if you are disciplined, you will outrun those who are gifted but lazy. You will surpass those who start strong but cannot remain consistent, because talent may open the door, but only discipline will keep you in the room. Motivation may spark the fire, but only discipline will keep it burning. And here's the hardest truth. Discipline will not feel good in the moment. Waking up early does not feel good. Saying no to distractions does not feel good. Working on your goals when everyone else is relaxing does not feel good. But discipline is not about how you feel in the moment. It's about who you become in the long run. Every act of daily discipline is like laying a brick. One brick doesn't look like much. 2 bricks don't look like much. But if you lay bricks every day with precision, with patience, with persistence, one day you will step back and see that you have built a fortress of strength, a fortress of resilience, a fortress of success. And that's the secret most people miss. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. Anyone can be intense for a day. Anyone can work hard for a week. But can you stay disciplined every day, even when no one claps for you, even when progress is invisible, even when it feels like nothing is changing? That is the test. That is the difference. Because daily discipline is not just about what you do, it's about who you become. Every time you discipline yourself, you are rewriting your identity. You are telling yourself, I am the kind of person who follows through. I am the kind of person who keeps promises to myself. I am the kind of person who builds, not just wishes. And when discipline becomes your lifestyle, success is no longer a question of if. It becomes only a question of when. Because the person who is disciplined today will be unstoppable tomorrow. And so I say to you, don't chase intensity, chase consistency. Don't wait for motivation, build discipline. Don't measure your progress by what you get in a day. Measure it by who you are becoming every day. Because daily discipline may not show results instantly, but it is quietly rewriting your next 20 years. If there is one investment that will never fail you, never betray you, and never lose its value, it is the investment you make in yourself through learning. We live in a world where people invest in cars, clothes, gadgets, and things that fade with time. But the knowledge you put inside your mind, the wisdom you sharpen every day, the skills you build with patience, those do not depreciate. In fact, they compound, they multiply, they elevate you above the average. Every great leader, every innovator, every world, changer has one thing in common: they never stopped learning. They understood that school was not the end of education, it was only the beginning. They understood that reading, listening, studying, observing, and applying were not chores. They were weapons. Imagine this: 20 minutes a day of learning every single day. 20 minutes of reading a book. 20 minutes of listening to something that grows your mind. 20 minutes of practicing a skill that sharpens your craft. It doesn't look like much today, but over a year, that's more than 120 hours of growth. Over 5 years, that's 600 hours. Over 20 years, that's a lifetime of mastery. And mastery is what separates those who wish from those who win. Because life will reward you based on the value you bring, and value is always the result of knowledge and skill. The more you learn, the more valuable you become. The more valuable you become, the more opportunities chase you instead of you chasing them. Think about it. People lose jobs, but knowledge keeps creating new ones. Industries change, but those who keep learning adapt and thrive. Economies collapse, but those who know how to learn, how to think, how to solve, they always find a way to rise again. That's why learning is not an expense, it's a seed. A seed that grows roots in your mind and branches in your future, and the fruit it bears, confidence, influence, freedom, cannot be bought in any store. But here's the tragedy: most people stop learning the day they finish school. They graduate, they get a job, and they believe their education is complete. They don't realize that life is the real classroom and the lessons never stop. And because they stop learning, they stop growing. And when you stop growing, you start dying. Slowly, quietly, without even noticing. But the few, the rare few, they choose differently. They choose to invest their time, their energy, their money into expanding their mind. They buy books instead of buying distractions. They listen to wisdom instead of noise. They ask questions instead of pretending to know it all. And over time, they become unrecognizable to the people who once knew them. Because knowledge transforms not just what you know, but who you are. It shapes how you think, how you see the world, how you solve problems, how you lead others. It creates a vision so clear that others begin to follow you, trust you, and rely on you. So I ask you this: if 20 minutes of learning can give you 20 years of wisdom, what are you waiting for? Why waste the minutes that could multiply into decades of mastery? Why settle for ignorance when the world's greatest teachers are waiting for you in books, in podcasts, in mentors, in experiences? Because the truth is, your future is hiding in what you don't know yet. And every 20 minutes you invest in learning is a key unlocking doors that ignorance will keep shut forever. You can have all the dreams in the world. You can have wealth, influence, vision, and ambition. But none of it matters if you don't have the health to live it, to enjoy it, to sustain it. Because what is success worth if your body cannot carry it? What is wealth worth if you don't have the strength to spend it? What is vision worth if your mind is too exhausted to see it clearly? Health is not just about avoiding sickness. It's about building the energy, the strength, and the resilience to live your life fully. It's about waking up every day with the fuel to chase your goals, not drag yourself through them. And here's the truth: your health is not shaped by years. It's shaped by minutes. 20 minutes of movement a day. Walking, running, stretching, lifting. Over time, it transforms your body. 20 minutes of mindfulness, of slowing down, of breathing deeply. It transforms your mind. 20 minutes of choosing good food over junk food, water over soda, rest over another late night distraction. It transforms your future. The body keeps score. Every decision you make today, every workout you skip, every meal you choose, every hour of sleep you trade, your body records it. It doesn't show immediately. You can ignore it for weeks, for months, sometimes even for years. But one day the bill comes due. And when it comes, it is far more expensive than the 20 minutes of care you refuse to give yourself each day. But the good news is the opposite is true as well. Every act of discipline, every small choice for health, every 20-minute investment adds up. compounds, multiplies, and one day you will thank yourself for protecting the one thing that money cannot buy back, your health. Because when you take care of your health, everything else becomes easier. Work feels lighter, stress feels smaller, focus becomes sharper. Relationships become deeper because you are present, alive, and engaged. Opportunities open because people trust those who look strong, who radiate energy, who carry themselves with vitality. And yet, so many people sacrifice their health for their goals. They work endless hours, chasing money while feeding their body poison, starving their soul of rest, ignoring the signals their body gives them every single day. They believe they are buying success, but in truth, they are only renting it, and the cost is their well-being. But imagine this instead: 20 minutes every day where you invest in your health as if it were your greatest asset, because it is. Exercise, eat well, sleep deeply, protect your mental space, and watch how the next 20 years of your life are not only longer, but better, stronger, richer, fuller. Because what good is 20 years of achievement if those years are lived in pain? What good is wealth if you can't climb a staircase without losing your breath? What good is success if you don't even have the energy to celebrate it? Your body is the vehicle that carries you through life. And like any vehicle, it needs maintenance. Ignore it and it breaks down. Care for it, and it will take you places you never imagined. So remember, every 20 minutes you give to your health is not a cost, it's a gift. A gift to your future self, a gift to your family, a gift to your dreams. Because if you lose your health, you lose the foundation of it all. But if you protect your health first, the next 20 years of your life will not just be about surviving, they will be about thriving. Everything in your life, your choices, your actions, your habits, your relationships, your success, it all begins in one place: your mind. The way you think determines the way you live, because nothing changes on the outside until something changes on the inside. Your mindset is the lens through which you see the world. If the lens is dirty, no matter how beautiful the scenery is, you will only see darkness, distortion, and limits. But if the lens is clear, you will see possibilities where others see problems, opportunities where others see obstacles, growth where others see failure. And here's the truth: most people miss your mindset is not fixed. It can be reset, rebuilt, reprogrammed. You are not stuck with the beliefs you grew up with, the fears you inherited, or the doubts you once carried. Every day, you are one decision away from resetting your mind. But here's the challenge. Your thoughts become your beliefs become your actions become your habits, and your habits shape your destiny. That means if you don't reset your mindset, you risk repeating the same cycles for the next 20 years of your life. Think about how powerful that is: 20 years shaped by the way you think today. If you believe you're not capable, you will live the next 2 decades proving yourself right. If you believe success is only for others, you will live the next 2 decades watching others succeed. If you believe the world is against you, you will see enemies in every direction. But if you reset your mindset, even for just 20 minutes a day, you begin to rewire your life. 20 minutes of gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have. 20 minutes of affirmations builds beliefs that anchor you in strength, not fear. 20 minutes of visualization programs your brain to chase your dreams as if they were already real. Your mind is a garden. Every thought you allow in is a seed. Negative thoughts are weeds. They spread, they choke, they drain. Positive thoughts are fruit. They nourish, they grow, they multiply. But here's the catch: the garden doesn't care what you plant. It will grow whatever you feed it. That means you must be intentional about pulling out the weeds and planting the seeds that will shape your future. And make no mistake, your environment feeds your mindset. The voices you listen to, the people you surround yourself with, the content you consume, All of it becomes the soil of your thinking. If you surround yourself with negativity, don't be surprised when your life feels heavy. If you surround yourself with inspiration, don't be surprised when your life feels unstoppable. The reset begins with awareness. Ask yourself, what thoughts have I been carrying for years that no longer serve me? What beliefs have been holding me back? What lies have I been repeating to myself so often that I began to mistake them for truth, and then replace them, reset them? Rewrite the script inside your mind, because the story you tell yourself will become the story you live. And here's the beauty of it. You don't need decades to reset your mindset. You don't need years of waiting. You only need moments of clarity. Moments where you decide, enough is enough. Moments where you refuse to carry old chains into a new chapter. Moments where you say, I choose to think differently. I choose to see differently. I choose to live differently. Because the person you are today is a reflection of the thoughts you had yesterday. And the person you will be 20 years from now is being written by the thoughts you allow today. Which means if you reset your mindset now, you reset the entire trajectory of your future. Money is not everything, but let's be honest. Without it, many of your dreams remain trapped in your imagination. Money is a tool, a servant, a resource. And like any resource, it can either build your life or break it, depending on how you choose to use it. Here's the truth. It's not how much you earn that determines your future. It's how you handle what you earn. Because financial freedom is not built by chance, it's built by choices. Small, daily, disciplined financial choices that may not seem like much today, but will define the next 20 years of your life. Think about it. 20 minutes of learning about money each day. How to budget, how to save, how to invest over time builds a foundation of wisdom that most people will never have. 20 minutes of tracking your expenses instead of ignoring them can stop you from falling into a lifetime of debt. 20 minutes of planning how to grow your resources can turn a little into a lot, slowly, consistently, predictably. But the problem is, most people don't make financial choices. They make financial impulses. They spend without thinking, they buy to impress, they live for today while sacrificing tomorrow. And then they look back 20 years later asking, where did it all go? Here's what people forget. Every dollar you spend is a vote for the future you will live in. Every dollar you save, every dollar you invest, every dollar you protect is a soldier working for you, multiplying quietly while you sleep. But every dollar you waste, every dollar you throw away, every dollar you spend on things that don't matter, that dollar is gone forever. Financial freedom doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't come from luck or lottery tickets or sudden windfalls. It comes from discipline, the discipline to live below your means when others are showing off, the discipline to save when others are spending, the discipline to invest when others are wasting. And here's the beauty. Those small, wise choices compound. The person who invests consistently for 20 years will always surpass the person who waits for the perfect time and never begins. The person who learns to control their money today will be the one who controls their future tomorrow. Because money, in itself, is neutral. It is not good. It is not evil. It simply amplifies who you are. If you are disciplined, money will multiply your discipline. If you are careless, money will multiply your mistakes. If you are generous, money will multiply your impact. If you are greedy, money will multiply your emptiness. So the question is, what financial choices are you making today? Are you planting seeds for wealth or weeds for regret? Are you treating money as a master, or are you training it to be your servant? Because here is what I know. 20 minutes of foolish spending can cost you 20 years of financial struggle. But 20 minutes of wise planning can set you up for 20 years of stability, security, and freedom. And freedom is what money is truly about. Not the freedom to buy things, but the freedom to live life on your own terms. the freedom to say yes to opportunities, the freedom to protect your family, the freedom to walk away from what no longer serves you, the freedom to give without fear of lack. And when you realize that, you begin to see money differently. You stop asking, how fast can I spend this? And you start asking, how far can I make this grow? You stop living paycheck to paycheck and start living principle to principle. You stop working only for money and start making money work for you. Because the next 20 years of your life will not be determined by what you hope for financially. They will be determined by the choices you make financially. At the end of the day, life is not measured by the things we own. It is measured by the people we love and the lives we touch. You can have money, success, fame, and recognition. But if you have no one to share it with, if you have no meaningful connections, then what do you really have? Relationships are the invisible threads that hold your life together. They are the source of your greatest joy, your deepest growth, and yes, sometimes your hardest lessons. And just like anything else that matters, relationships require investment. They require attention. They require intentional time. 20 minutes a day spent with someone you love, and distracted, fully present, over years builds a bond that no storm can break. 20 minutes of listening, not just hearing, of caring, not just nodding, can heal wounds that silence would have left open for decades. 20 minutes of choosing to understand instead of argue, to forgive instead of fight, to build instead of break. That is what creates legacies of love, because relationships don't collapse overnight. They erode little by little through neglect, through busyness, through the illusion that I'll make time later. But later never comes, and by the time we realize it, we've lost people we never intended to lose, not because of one big fight, but because of thousands of small, missed moments. And yet, the opposite is true as well. Strong relationships are not built in one grand gesture. They are not built in expensive gifts or elaborate speeches. They are built in the small, consistent acts of love and care. They are built in the ordinary, repeated 20-minute moments of connection that compound into trust, loyalty, and unbreakable bonds. Think about the people who matter most to you. Your family, your friends, your mentors, your loved ones. 20 years from now, will they remember what car you drove, what phone you used, or what clothes you wore? No. They will remember how you made them feel. They will remember the times you were there, the words you spoke, the moments you shared. Relationships matter because life is not meant to be walked alone. Even the strongest need support. Even the leaders need encouragement. Even the dreamers need someone to believe in them when their own belief begins to fade. And just as much as you need others, others need you. Someone needs your encouragement. Someone needs your listening ear. Someone needs your presence more than your perfection. And when you look back on your life, it won't be the trophies, the bank accounts, or the headlines that bring tears to your eyes. It will be the faces of the people who walked the journey with you, the ones you laughed with, cried with, built with, grew with. The ones who stood by you in the hard times, and the ones you chose to stand by when it wasn't easy. So ask yourself, who do I need to give my 20 minutes to today? Who do I need to call, to hug, to thank, to listen to forgive? Who do I need to remind that they matter? Because those 20 minutes, though they may feel small, will echo for decades in the hearts of the people who receive them. And if you can build wealth in your relationships, if you can invest consistently in love, in connection, in understanding, then the next 20 years of your life will not just be successful, they will be meaningful. Because when the storms come, and they will, it is not money or status that will hold you up. It is the strength of your relationships. And when the victories come, and they will, it is not the applause of strangers that will fill your heart. It is the celebration of the people who truly know you. That is why I say relationships matter. They are not a side note in your life, they are the very foundation. And the time you give to them, the 20 minutes you choose to invest each day, will define not only the next 20 years of your life, but the next 20 years of someone else's life too. Every great life is built on a great dream. But here's the truth. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or because opportunities never come their way. They fail because their vision is blurry. They don't have clarity on what they truly want. And if you don't know where you're going, you can spend 20 years walking in circles and wonder why you never arrived. Clarity is power, it is focus, it is direction. It is the difference between a river that cuts through stone and a flood that spreads everywhere but goes nowhere. When your dream is clear, your energy aligns, your decisions sharpen, your actions find meaning. Every yes and every no begins to make sense because you know where you're heading. But dream clarity does not come by accident. It comes through intention. It comes from sitting with yourself, stripping away the noise of the world, and asking the hard questions. What do I truly want? What matters to me beyond the expectations of others? If no one judged me, if no one laughed at me, if nothing was impossible, what life would I choose to build? The problem is that most of us inherit dreams. We pick them up from society, from family, from peers. We chase what others call success without ever stopping to ask if it is our definition of success. And then one day, 20 years later, we wake up successful on the outside but empty on the inside. That is the tragedy of a dream unexamined. Clarity demands courage, because when you get clear on your dream, it may not align with what people expect from you. It may not look safe. It may require you to walk away from what is familiar, comfortable, or easy. But what's the point of living safe if it costs you the very life you were meant to live? Now imagine this. 20 minutes a day spent on dream clarity. 20 minutes writing, journaling, meditating, visualizing. 20 minutes asking yourself better questions, reflecting on your progress, sharpening your vision. Those small daily investments compound into a crystal clear roadmap for the next 20 years of your life. While others drift with the wind, you move with precision. While others chase everything, you focus on the one thing that matters most. Dream clarity doesn't just guide your goals, it protects your time. It helps you recognize distractions disguised as opportunities. It helps you avoid the trap of saying yes to everything and end up drained by commitments that have nothing to do with your true purpose. It saves you from living someone else's life and empowers you to fully step into your own. And here's the beauty of it. Once you are clear on your dream, life begins to align in ways you never imagined. The right people show up, the right doors open. The challenges you face no longer intimidate you because you know they are part of the path. Even failure doesn't scare you because failure on the path of clarity is still progress, while success on the wrong path is still emptiness. Think about it. How much of your energy right now is scattered, spent on things that don't actually matter to you? How many years slip away because you've been busy but not purposeful? The truth is, the next 20 years will pass whether you are clear or not. But only if you are clear will they build the life you truly desire. So here's the invitation. Stop wandering. Stop guessing. Stop borrowing dreams from others. Decide, define, declare. Get clear on what you want your next 20 years to look like. Because if your vision is blurry, your results will always be uncertain. But when your dream is sharp, your future is unstoppable. And remember this, clarity is not about having the entire roadmap figured out. It is about knowing the direction of your North Star and being willing to take the next step with confidence. The destination may evolve, the path may change, but when the dream is clear, the journey becomes meaningful. And when the journey is meaningful, even the struggles turn into fuel, and even the setbacks become stepping stones. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the engine. Motivation is like the wind. You feel it one day and it's gone the next. Discipline, however, is the anchor. It is the steady force that keeps you moving forward long after the excitement has faded. And if you want the next 20 years of your life to be extraordinary, you must learn to stop relying on fleeting emotions and start building unshakable habits. Too many people wait for motivation to show up before they act. They wait for the perfect mood, the right moment, the ideal circumstances. But here's the truth. Success does not wait for your feelings. Success bows only to discipline. Your body may not feel like getting up at 5 a.m. Your mind may not feel like reading that book. Your emotions may not feel like saying no to distractions. But discipline doesn't ask how you feel. Discipline acts anyway. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is intentional. Motivation can come from a speech, a movie, a quote, but it fades quickly. Discipline is built by repetition. It is forged in routine. It is carved out in the grind of doing the same small things over and over until they become part of who you are. Discipline transforms action into identity. At first you run because you want to get fit. Later you run because you are a runner. At first you study because you want to pass. Later you study because learning is part of you. And here's the secret. The people you admire, the ones who built empires, changed industries, broke records, they were not always motivated. They were disciplined. They woke up on the days they didn't want to. They practiced when no one was watching. They kept promises to themselves when no one else would have noticed if they quit. That is why their results look extraordinary. Because discipline turned their ordinary days into extraordinary years. Think about 20 minutes of discipline every day. Just 20 minutes of consistent, focused effort on something meaningful. Your health, your skill, your craft, your relationships. 20 minutes, done daily, compounds into 300 minutes a year. That's more than 120 hours. Over 20 years, that's 400 hours. Enough to transform you into a master in any area you choose. Discipline is not glamorous in the moment, but its results are undeniable in the long run. And let's be honest, discipline is not easy. It is not supposed to be. Discipline is resistance training for your soul. It is choosing the hard path when the easy one tempts you. It is delaying gratification when the world around you screams, "Take it now." It is telling yourself no to the small things today so you can say yes to the big things tomorrow. And every time you practice discipline, you build strength. You prove to yourself that you can do hard things. You build a reputation with yourself that says, "I can be trusted." Because the real danger of relying only on motivation is this: what happens on the days you don't feel like it? What happens when life hits you, when energy is low, when doubt is loud? If your only fuel is motivation, you will quit. But if your foundation is discipline, you will endure. Discipline is what gets you through the dark valleys, through the silent seasons when no applause is heard and no progress is visible. The truth is, the next 20 years of your life will not be defined by how many times you felt inspired. They will be defined by how many times you stayed consistent when you didn't feel like it. They will be shaped not by your bursts of enthusiasm, but by your daily choices, your quiet persistence, your relentless commitment to keep showing up again and again, especially when no one is watching. So stop asking, "How do I stay motivated?" Start asking, "How do I stay disciplined?" Because motivation is a feeling, but discipline is a decision. Motivation makes you start, but discipline makes you finish. Motivation is a moment, but discipline is a lifestyle. And if you can build the kind of discipline that outlasts moods, outlasts doubts, outlasts distractions, then nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop you from creating the future you desire. Because when motivation fades, as it always will, discipline remains. And when discipline remains, progress continues. And when progress continues, results become inevitable. Failure, the word alone, makes most people shrink. It carries the weight of disappointment, embarrassment, and regret. We are taught from a young age to avoid it at all costs, as if failure is a dead end. But what if failure is not the end at all? What if it is the beginning? What if failure is not your enemy, but your teacher? The truth is, nobody escapes failure. Not one person who has ever achieved something significant did so without stumbling, falling, or breaking along the way. The difference is not that they avoided failure. It is that they learned how to use it. They didn't let failure define them, they let failure refine them. Failure has a way of revealing truths that success can never teach. Success can make you comfortable, but failure makes you humble. Success can blind you to your weaknesses, but failure shines a spotlight on them. Success may show you what is possible, but failure shows you what is necessary. And if you can look failure in the eye, strip away the shame and extract the lesson, it becomes fuel, it becomes energy, it becomes a compass pointing you toward growth. Think about the greatest inventors, athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders. They all failed not once or twice, but hundreds of times. Edison didn't discover the light bulb in his first attempt. He failed over 1,000 times. Every missed shot, every broken prototype, every rejection letter was not a wall. It was a stepping stone. What kept him going wasn't luck, it was perspective. He refused to call it failure, he called it learning. That's the mindset shift you must embrace if you want the next 20 years of your life to matter. Stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what will I learn when I do? Because failure is not a possibility. It is a guarantee. The only question is, will you waste it or will you use it? Now imagine this, 20 minutes a day spent reflecting on your failures. Not in self-pity, not in guilt, but in growth. 20 minutes of writing down what went wrong, why it went wrong, and what you will do differently next time. Over time, you will build a personal library of wisdom. Hard-earned lessons carved into your story by the chisels of failure. And when the next challenge comes, you won't be starting from scratch. You will be armed with experience. Failure is not a verdict. Failure is feedback. It doesn't say you can't. It says not this way. It doesn't mean stop. It means adjust. It doesn't mean quit. It means grow. And the moment you stop fearing failure is the moment you become unstoppable, because there is nothing left the world can use to paralyze you. But here's the problem. Most people never get to taste the gift inside failure because they quit too soon. They mistake the first rejection for final judgment. They mistake a delay for denial. They mistake a stumble for a collapse. And so, they walk away just before the breakthrough. But those who endure, those who get back up, those who refuse to let failure bury them, they discover that failure was never a grave, it was the soil where resilience grows, the soil where strength is rooted. The soil where character is forged. Failure is fuel because it gives you hunger, it reminds you that you're not finished yet, it keeps you from settling for average, it pushes you to dig deeper, fight harder, rise higher. And the beautiful paradox is this: the more you fail, the closer you get to the version of yourself who no longer fears failure at all. That version of you is dangerous, because nothing can stop a person who has learned to turn pain into power and setbacks into strategy. So as you think about the next 20 years of your life, don't pray for a life without failure. Pray for the strength to rise after it. Don't wish for a path without obstacles. Wish for the courage to face them. Don't dream of perfection, dream of resilience, because it is not the absence of failure that makes a person great. It is the mastery of failure. And if you can master this, if you can embrace every failure not as a punishment, but as preparation, not as a wound, but as wisdom, then failure will stop being the thing you fear, and it will become the very thing that fuels you, that drives you, that carries you to heights you never imagined. Because at the end of the day, success is built on the ashes of failure, and greatness is born from the lessons it teaches. Consistency, it may not sound glamorous, it doesn't make headlines, it doesn't earn applause in the moment. But consistency is the quiet force that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. If discipline is the decision to act, then consistency is the decision to keep acting, again and again, long after the excitement fades, long after the novelty disappears, long after the world has stopped paying attention. Think about it. One workout won't change your body. One conversation won't transform your relationship. One day of focused work won't build a legacy, but repeated, consistent effort, day after day, week after week, year after year, that is what creates momentum. And once momentum takes over, it carries you further than you ever thought you could go. Momentum is like a flywheel. At first, it feels impossibly heavy. You push, and it barely moves, but every small push adds up. Slowly, it begins to turn, and as it turns, the weight seems to lessen. Soon, the same effort produces greater speed. Then one day, the wheel is spinning so powerfully that it almost pulls you forward. That is the power of consistency. At the beginning, it feels like struggle. In time, it feels like acceleration. But here's the problem. Most people quit before they reach momentum. They stop after a week because they don't see results. They give up after a month because it still feels hard. They break the chain before the wheel has had a chance to turn. And so they start over again and again, never realizing that their breakthrough was only a few more pushes away. Now imagine what 20 minutes of consistency each day could do. 20 minutes of writing every morning. After 20 years, you'd have volumes of wisdom. 20 minutes of practicing a skill. After 20 years, you'd be a master. 20 minutes of exercise. After 20 years, your health would be unshakable. The magic is not in the 20 minutes. It is in the fact that you never stopped. Consistency also creates trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Every time you show up, you prove to yourself that your word matters. Every time you follow through, you rewrite your identity. Slowly, you stop being someone who tries, and you become someone who does. You stop being someone who hopes, and you become someone who produces. You stop being someone who waits for change, and you become someone who creates it. And what consistency does better than anything else is build momentum that compounds. Because momentum attracts opportunities, momentum attracts people, momentum creates energy. When you are consistent, you don't have to chase everything. The right things begin to find you. Success starts to flow not because it's easier, but because your effort has created a force larger than your doubts, larger than your obstacles, larger than your fears. But understand this, consistency is not about perfection. You will stumble, you will miss a day, you will fall short. But consistency is not about never falling. It is about always returning. It is about refusing to let a bad day become a bad week, and a bad week become a wasted month. It is about the relentless return to the path again and again until it becomes impossible to knock you off course. Consistency doesn't demand brilliance. It demands commitment. It doesn't demand talent. It demands persistence. It doesn't demand everything. It demands something every day without excuse. And when you stack days upon days, weeks upon weeks, years upon years, the compound effect takes over. What once felt impossible becomes inevitable. Because consistency is not just what creates results. It creates identity, and identity creates destiny. If you can become the kind of person who shows up no matter what, who keeps going no matter how small the progress seems, who keeps pushing even when no one notices, then you will discover that momentum is not something you chase. It is something you build, and once it is built, it will carry you further, faster, higher than you ever believed possible. If there is one truth about the next 20 years of your life, it is this: change is inevitable. The world you know today will not be the world you live in tomorrow. Technology will evolve, economies will shift, industries will rise and collapse, people will come and go, and circumstances will challenge everything you thought was certain. The question is not, will change happen? The question is, will I be ready when it does? Adaptability is the answer. It is not about controlling change. You can't. It is not about predicting the future. You won't. It is about responding with flexibility, creativity, and resilience when the unexpected arrives. Adaptability is the ability to bend without breaking, to adjust without losing direction, to evolve without losing yourself. Think about water. It has no fixed shape, yet it takes the shape of whatever container it enters. Pour it into a cup, it becomes the cup. Pour it into a river, it becomes the river. Water adapts, and because it adapts, it flows. That is the mindset you need if you want to thrive in the years ahead. The ability to flow with change instead of fighting it. Most people resist change. They cling to the familiar, to routines, to what once worked. But what once worked is not guaranteed to work tomorrow. The skills that got you here may not be the skills that carry you forward. The strategies that built your past may not be the strategies that secure your future. Adaptability is about recognizing when it's time to let go, to unlearn, to pivot. And that takes humility, that takes courage, that takes vision. Imagine this: 20 minutes a day spent learning something new, exposing yourself to new ideas, new perspectives, new skills. 20 minutes of growth, of stretching beyond your comfort zone, of challenging your own assumptions. Over the span of 20 years, those small daily shifts create a mind that is flexible, a spirit that is resilient, and a future that is unshakable no matter what storms arrive. Adaptability is not weakness, it is strength. A tree that refuses to bend in the wind snaps in the storm, but a tree that bends, that sways, that yields to the pressure without surrendering its root, survives. And not only survives, but thrives, because its flexibility gives it longevity. In the same way, your adaptability is what will give you endurance. History has always rewarded those who could adapt. The greatest leaders were not those who had every answer in advance, but those who could shift direction without losing momentum. The most successful businesses were not those who clung to old models, but those who embraced innovation before others dared to. The happiest individuals are not those who had perfect lives, but those who learned to make the best of imperfect ones. And here's the beauty: adaptability doesn't mean abandoning your values, your vision, or your purpose. It means finding new ways to live them out. It means being open to new paths while staying true to your destination. It means allowing the how to evolve while never losing sight of the why. The danger of resisting change is that life will pass you by. Opportunities will slip through your fingers. You will be left holding onto a version of yourself that no longer fits the world you live in. But when you embrace adaptability, you discover that change is not something to fear. It is something to use. Every shift becomes a chance to grow. Every setback becomes a chance to adjust. Every ending becomes the start of something new. So as you think about the next 20 years, ask yourself, am I willing to bend so I don't break? Am I willing to learn so I don't get left behind? Am I willing to evolve so I can continue to thrive? Because adaptability is not about surviving change. It is about mastering it. It is about becoming so fluid, so flexible, so resilient, that no matter what life throws your way, you can adjust your sails and keep moving forward. Of all the resources you will ever hold in your hands, money, talent, connections, opportunities, none of them compare to the power of time. Money can be lost and earned again. Opportunities can be missed and rediscovered. Even health can be rebuilt to some degree. But time is the one resource you can never get back. Once it is gone forever. The greatest illusion of life is thinking you have plenty of time. We say, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll start next week, I'll chase that dream when I'm ready. But tomorrow is not guaranteed, next week may never come. And by the time you feel ready, years may have slipped through your fingers. The tragedy is not that life is short. The tragedy is that we waste so much of it. Hours vanish into distractions, days vanish into procrastination, years vanish into regret. And the saddest part, most people don't realize the value of time until it is almost gone. Then they look back and wonder why they didn't start sooner, why they didn't cherish the moments, why they didn't live with urgency. But here's the truth, 20 minutes a day of intentional time management can transform the next 20 years of your life. 20 minutes of reflection on how you're using your hours. 20 minutes of prioritizing what matters most. 20 minutes of cutting out the noise, the meaningless habits, the distractions that steal your future in exchange for nothing. Over 2 decades, that simple practice alone can buy you back years of purpose. Time is not just about quantity, it is about quality. You could live 80 years and waste most of them, or you could live 40 years with intensity, clarity, and passion, and accomplish more than someone who lived twice as long. It is not how long you live, it is how well you use the time you are given. Think about this. Time is the one thing every single person on this planet is given equally. The billionaire and the beggar both have 24 hours in a day. The question is not who has more time. The question is who uses it more wisely. Time is the great equalizer. It doesn't care about your background, your resources, or your status. It simply asks, what will you do with me today? And here is where most people go wrong. They trade time for comfort. They spend hours scrolling, hours escaping, hours numbing themselves with things that add nothing to their future. They spend time like it's endless, forgetting that every minute is a withdrawal from an account you can never refill. But those who understand the value of time treat it differently. They guard it fiercely. They invest it wisely. They know that every day is a seed, and how they plant it determines the harvest of their future. They wake up with urgency, not because they are afraid of dying, but because they are determined to truly live. Time is also the most generous gift you can give to others. A phone call, a conversation, a visit, a listening ear. These cost nothing but minutes, yet they can change a person's entire day or even their life. Time spent with loved ones is never wasted, because when all else fades, it is those moments that remain engraved in memory. So as you think about the next 20 years, remember this. Your greatest asset is not in your bank account, not in your possessions, not in your status. It is in your calendar. It is in the hours you choose to spend, the minutes you choose to protect, the moments you choose to create. Because in the end, life will not ask how much you own. It will ask how you use the time you were given. And if you can master your time, if you can treat it as the precious, irreplaceable currency it is, then you will discover that the life you want is not built in grand bursts of effort, but in the wise investment of the minutes, the hours, the days you hold in your hands right now. Time, used well, becomes the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. When the 20 years have passed, when the applause fades, when the trophies gather dust, when the money has been spent, when your name is no longer trending, what will remain? Legacy is not about what you keep. It is about what you leave behind. It is the footprint of your existence pressed into the sands of time. It is the invisible ripple your life creates in the hearts and minds of people who come long after you're gone. Some people live only for themselves, their comfort, their pleasure, their gain. They chase achievements, they collect possessions, they build monuments to their own ego. But history has proven again and again that self-centered lives vanish quickly. Their names are forgotten, their works decay, their power fades, because legacy is not measured by what you take. Legacy is measured by what you give. Think of the people who changed the course of humanity. Not because they lived for themselves, but because they lived for something greater. Teachers who ignited a spark in students who went on to shape the world. Inventors who worked tirelessly, not for fame, but to solve problems for generations to come. Leaders who stood for justice, even when it cost them everything. Parents and mentors who planted seeds in young lives, seeds that blossomed into greatness decades later. These are the true architects of legacy. Here is the truth. The next 20 years of your life will not just build your future. They will shape the futures of countless others, whether you realize it or not. Every word you speak, every action you take, every decision you make will echo into lives you may never meet. Legacy is not just what you intend to leave. Legacy is what you actually leave through the daily choices you make. And legacy is not about scale. It is about impact. You do not have to touch millions of lives to leave a legacy. Sometimes the greatest legacies are invisible, hidden in quiet acts of kindness that ripple for generations. A single encouraging word may set someone on a path of courage. A single act of generosity may inspire a chain of giving that stretches far beyond your lifetime. Legacy is the story others will tell about how you lived, how you loved, and how you lifted those around you. So the question is not, will I leave a legacy? The question is, what kind of legacy will I leave? Will it be a story of selfishness, regret, and wasted potential? Or will it be a story of courage, sacrifice, love, and transformation? The danger is waiting too long to decide. Because legacy is not built at the end of life. It is built in the middle of it, in the ordinary days, in the choices no one sees, in the time you give when it would have been easier to take, in the principles you refuse to compromise even when it costs you. Your legacy begins the moment you choose to live for something bigger than yourself. The moment you decide that your time, your talents, your energy, your resources are not just tools for your personal comfort, but instruments for the service of others. That is when life transcends survival and becomes significance. And maybe the most powerful truth about legacy is this: you may never fully see it. You may never know the people you impacted, the lives you saved, the destinies you redirected. Legacy is often invisible in the moment. It blooms long after you are gone, when someone else tells the story, when someone else carries the torch you lit, when someone else reaps the harvest of the seeds you planted long ago. So as you look ahead to the next 20 years, remember this: success is what you achieve, but legacy is what you leave. Success is temporary, but legacy is eternal. Success fills your hands, but legacy fills the hands of generations to come. Success may fade, but legacy never dies. And so, I leave you with this: the next 20 years of your life will not be written by chance, but by choice. Every 20 minutes you spend with intention is a brick laid in the foundation of the future you will walk into. Every 20 minutes wasted is a piece of your destiny surrendered. Do not wait for tomorrow, because tomorrow is not promised. Do not wait for permission, because greatness does not ask to be approved. Do not wait for the perfect time, because the perfect time is now. The next 20 years will come, whether you prepare for them or not. The question is, when they arrive, will you look back with pride or with regret? Will you tell the story of a life you designed or a life you drifted through? You have 20 minutes right now, just 20, to set a direction, to make a decision, to begin something that could shape decades ahead. 20 minutes is not small. 20 minutes is power. 20 minutes is momentum. And if you dare to teach